Thursday. Thought I would just quickly pop on and have a little bit of a chat about how I'm currently feeling, how I've been feeling over the last couple of days, and yeah, in the interest of trying to be a little bit more open with my journey in terms of my feelings and the good and the bad days, thought it might be a good idea to do some just like little check-in videos here and there. So over the last few days my anxiety has been very up and down, and it's really led to some very sort of interesting and insightful conversations with Jim. And one of those conversations was sort of like in the direction of talking about these self-sabotage sort of episodes, and what's causing that to happen, and just have some, you know, some really good deep chats and insightful things, because I feel like sometimes, you know, we just need to just let it all out. And there have been periods where I've been really upset, but also I think it has shed some light on some certain behaviours and made me feel a little bit more positive about what it is that I need to be doing in order to change. So we had a little chat and I was explaining about how, and I touched upon this a little bit in Monday's video, how sometimes I feel like the behaviours and things that I do, mindless eating, is sometimes coming from this sort of like unconscious autopilot sort of place. And what I mean by that is, within life there's loads of things and loads of instances where we sort of somewhat run on autopilot based on cognitive pathways, things that we've learned, behaviours that we've learned over time that just become so ingrained that we do it naturally. So one of these instances that we all probably can relate to is having sort of a TV remote control. After using it for a couple of months, you don't even have to look at it to like press play, turn up the volume, turn it off. You know where that power button is. You've made that connection to put it on. You don't need to look at it in order to do it. And certain things with like journeys, if you do a car journey every day, sometimes you might get there and think, I cannot remember any of that journey, but you've arrived there safely, and you know you've obviously been conscious of the journey, but because it's so ingrained, and it's just this sort of like autopilot mechanism in your thought process, it feels quite strange. I don't know if anybody else has done that. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a journey in a car, you've driven yourself somewhere and then you've got to the place and you're like, really can't remember any of that. So yeah, there's loads of sort of things within life that we do day in day out that we're not totally conscious of doing. And I do think that, you know, for a long time I have picked up a lot of sort of unconscious behaviours, coping strategies, things that probably trigger me day in day out that I'm totally unaware of, totally sort of lives within my unconscious behaviours. And it's not that I'm using it as an excuse and saying I'm not to blame, you know. There's this other person that lives inside me that is like driving. I know that I'm driving the ship, I know that I'm totally in control, but what I'm saying is there's behaviours and things that happen that unless we're consciously aware of it, it just goes on. So we were talking a little bit about that, and I have sort of thought about the processes in which I could do, the strategies which I could put in place in order to combat that, which I'm going to touch on a little bit later in the video. But one of the reasons that I feel like it's important to really implement these strategies is I do think that this is probably one of the main causes of why I haven't got where I want to get so far. Because I do have all this motivation and all this willpower, and like I said in Monday's video, on some days that's great, and I don't sort of like go away from how I'm thinking and feeling on that day, but then the next day can be completely different. So I do think a lot of it comes down to awareness and making sure that I'm more aware of my behaviours. Why am I doing that? And kind of stopping myself in my tracks. But a really good analogy, I think, to sort of like describe this visually, what I think's going on with me. Let's say, for instance, you've got a really messy room. You've got a pile of clothing in the corner that's like built up, and you're like, right, I've got to sort this out now. So you spend all day tidying the room, and you're like, right, it's lovely and tidy, it's lovely and tidy. Unless you change the strategy in which it got messy in the first place. So for instance, rather than hanging, you know, taking some clothes off and putting it in the wash basket, or taking an outfit off and hanging it up, or trying on an outfit and then hanging it back up in the wardrobe, whatever, unless you change those methods, that was just a hairbrush falling on the floor, it's going to get messy again, until you have the willpower again to spend a whole day sorting it out. And that happens over and over and over again. So the method of change is what I'm trying to now focus on, in terms of not wanting to spend, you know, a full day and a load of willpower and effort on tidying the room. I want to keep the room consistently tidy. I hope you're getting my analogy, I really do, and you don't think I'm just some crazy girl. But yeah, I feel like that's the perfect way to describe what I'm trying to do going forward. So I'm trying to implement strategies in order to be more aware and be more conscious. So I've given this a little name. I've called it the awareness strategies, and a couple of them I've one of them I've implemented so far, but I'm giving myself over the next couple of days to implement these, the ones that I've wrote down so far, implement them, and then just see how I get on. But I do truly feel like the more aware and conscious I am of my potential ability to slip back into old behaviours, old coping mechanisms, and what have you, the more aware I am of the fact that I use that, the more aware I am of when I do that, the more aware I am of why, and then these strategies in place to help stop me going to that place, I just feel like I'm onto a bit of a winner. So I wrote them down on my phone. These are what I've come up with so far. So ideas for mindless eating awareness, my awareness strategies. So set reminders on my phone to pop up at moments throughout the day, especially on the morning time. Now this is something I've already implemented. I will try and pop a screenshot up so you can see like how it pops up on my phone, but I'll just read what the reminder is. So I have set this reminder to repeat every single morning at the same time of 7 AM, and it basically says, Greece in 2 months, you can have the life of your dreams if you make today count. Now there's a bit more information needed in that. So I am going to Greece in May, and although, you know, I definitely don't stand by the rule that you have to be a certain size to wear a bikini or to, you know, feel good in your body. Like I've said, you can feel good in your body and, you know, rock your own socks at whatever size you feel comfortable and happy to be. Right now, if I was to go to Greece tomorrow, I wouldn't be totally comfortable or happy. Now I'm not in any sort of delusional state and think that I can lose all the weight and be as fit as I want to be in 2 months, but I certainly can get a lot further along the way. I certainly can be happier than I am now, and what have you. So that's kind of like a bit of a first goal, if you will. It's a bit of a sort of like something to strive for in the short term. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna starve myself until May, go to Greece and then come back and whatever. It means that it's just a little bit of a tool there that is going to help me with my awareness in the short term, because I do want to lose a bit of weight before I go on holiday, and I don't personally think there's any shame in that. So that's like a first initial goal. So reminding myself how long I've got between now and then to either make today count or not is, for me, I personally think is sort of like a good little reminder in the morning. So that's popped up the last couple of days, and I've left it on there as long as I feel like I want it to go in. So today I just left it on there until I think about 2 o'clock, and then I cleared it from my phone. So yeah, obviously it doesn't necessarily have to say that. It can say whatever I want it to say, but I just felt like giving myself a little reminder of, you know, making today count, and my time before Greece would be a good way to start the day. I am going to pop some more reminders to pop up throughout the day. One of the ones I was thinking, and I'm not quite sure how to word it yet, but was something about the fact that, you know, even if you, alright, even if I've like slightly sort of deferred from the plan, if it's like, how can I explain this? So say for instance I have set out, you know, I've obviously got an overall goal of daily sort of calorie intake, carbohydrate intake, and what have you, and also a bit of an idea of sort of the kind of foods I want to be eating and stuff like that. But I think I'm going to touch upon that in another video because I don't want this one to be too long. But say for instance I've had a cup of tea and really craved a biscuit or something, or a yogurt, and had that, and then I've had another one after that, which is that's totally possible. That's something to happen. People, you know, if like, or say for instance if my strategies haven't quite worked and I've slipped back into an old coping mechanism or something like that, you know, something that can pop up and say that even if that's happened, you can still make today count. Don't run with that. Just you don't have to start again tomorrow or start again on Monday. You can just go, okay, well that's happened, but I'm just going to go with it now, and I'm not going to continue to spiral, because sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel like if I've done something outside of my parameters of how I want to eat or my calories and stuff like that, that can really spiral, and suddenly, you know, a tiny little snowball is huge. So basically just something that can pop up at some point throughout the day to remind me that it's okay to go off a little bit, but to go really, really far off and use it as an excuse is obviously detrimental to my progress. Maybe something a little bit more towards the end of the day, saying, has today taken you one step closer to your goal, or one step back, something like that. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, please do leave comments in potential little reminders I can set for myself on my phone to pop up, and times which you think would be best, or maybe just something inspiring to write. So yeah, so that's the first awareness strategy that I have written down. The second one is make a vision board and post it somewhere I'll see it every day. So I love like visual inspiration. It's how I a lot of the time articulate my thoughts and feelings. I use a lot of visual analogies and stuff. So what I want to do is just get some like an A4, A2, whatever size piece of paper, and then just spend like an hour or so filling that with images of my dream life, how I want my dream life to be. Maybe I can look for an outfit that I would love to wear if I could feel confident in it, or like someone being really sporty, a plate of like really delicious food in rainbow colours, cut them out, stick them on, And I think I'm going to put it here because this is where I sort of like get ready for the day. So I'm going to pop it on this wall, so every time I come in and I start to get ready for my day, I have a visual reminder. First thing, there it is, that's the goal, that's the goal. I've got my reminder on my phone, reminding me of it. I've got my visual on my wall, showing me it. We're setting up good, we're setting up good. And I think I'm going to do that either Friday evening or on Saturday. Next is put a note on a cupboard door. Cupboards are like areas which I would probably go to for mindless eating snacks. So the idea behind this is being really aware of the areas in which I can maybe stumble a little bit, or maybe, you know, just being really honest with myself and saying, okay, what potentially could, I don't know about you, I don't know whether this is just me, but there are some certain cupboards in my kitchen which hold certain things, which if I'm not necessarily totally hungry, or I'm just after a bit of comfort, or I'm just wanting to have something to eat, or whatever the reason is, I'm not going to the fruit bowl, I'm not getting, you know, the carrot, I'm going in that cupboard. Or potential things that I might binge on or whatever. So my idea is to just write myself a little note. I'm going to stick it on the inside of my cupboard because having something on the outside will drive me insane, and I'll more than likely take it down after the first time I wipe down the cupboards. So I'm going to pop it on the inside, but when I open it, it's going to be there and it's going to be visible. So yeah, just something written there that potentially might break that sort of unconscious learnt behavioural pattern, that might just be that little sort of chink in that chain that breaks it. So that's another mindless eating awareness strategy. Listen to inspiring podcasts and videos each day to help promote motivation. So I love to listen to inspiring books and podcasts that might give me a little bit more sort of motivation in certain areas, or that just might help me learn something, whether it's something to do with nutrition or fitness, or just an inspiring podcast about somebody that's really sort of motivational. At the moment I'm listening to Atomic Habits. I think I'm on to chapter 8, and I find that really helpful. And what I did was made a little pact with myself that on my journeys to work or on sort of longer commutes, I was gonna utilize that time for learning and growing, because I can spend sort of like up to 3 to 4 hours when I'm traveling into work, and that time was spent just listening to the radio and music. And sometimes it's really nice to put on a song or whatever, but I just wanted to do something with that time that was a little bit more time effective, and I've been finding that it has been really helpful. And yeah, so I'm going to continue on that thread and just try and get as much motivation into my day as possible. And then the last one that I've got written here is tell Jim how I'm feeling, make him more aware of tracking calories, and ask for help to make sure that I'm tracking daily. So obviously I don't live alone. I have my lovely Jim with me, and then my lovely children, stepchildren on the weekend. So I don't know necessarily if I've shied away from asking for support. I'm not that kind of, I don't think I'm that kind of person. I think a lot of it, I know that it has to be a change from within. So I'm not necessarily asking him to make me an exercise plan or things like that, but I've had a couple of chats with Jim and just basically outlined how I feel, outlined a couple of the struggles, the things that I'm struggling with, and just said, look, I would really appreciate some support in certain areas, and I think that will definitely help with the awareness side of it, because if the person that I'm living with day in day out and eating the majority of my meals with, and you know, just sharing life with, basically, has a bit more of an idea of where my head's at and how I'm feeling and what's going on, you know, a problem shared is a problem halved. So hopefully by being a little bit more open with things with him, I feel like that's another great potential tool to help keep me aware, help keep me conscious of my behaviours. Yeah, so we'll see. But that's all I've got down for now, and I think that's quite a lot of things to be getting on with over the next couple of days. And once I have sort of implemented them things, I will share them with you. I'll share my vision board, I'll share my little note on the cupboard, and the other notes and things that pop up, the daily phone reminders, I will share them also. But if you have any ideas at what I could do, I would love for you to share them with me, because the more the sort of merrier. And this is something that I'm aiming to build upon, and obviously there's lots more other elements that are going on, workout, you know, obviously tracking and stuff like that, which I am going to get back into sort of sharing. I have been tracking over the last couple of days, and I've been really successful with it. I'm feeling a lot more positive. I have had a couple of really heavy days with anxiety and just feeling hopeless, and yeah, but today, right now, I'm feeling I am feeling a bit more positive. And yeah, I did sort of consider trying to film yesterday, but it just was not viable. And I'm not exactly jumping for joy right now. I do feel a lot better, but I am still going to share. I'm going to try, even if on the days that I can't share, I'm still going to try. I mean, even if on the days that are like that I can't film, I'm still going to try and share, so that there's a little bit more of a overall understanding of what's going on and how I'm feeling and thinking. But yeah, this is just something that I'm going to try and build upon. Try out these strategies, see how I get on, and then obviously implement other things like, you know, workouts, and just, yeah, I'm trying to be very realistic and very implement things that are going to really make a difference. Now, I know that obviously working out is great for my mental health, and obviously it's productive when you're trying to lose weight or change your body composition. It's extremely helpful, very important. But there's no amount of working out that can alter my unhealthy relationship with food or change this sort of self-sabotageal situations. So I feel like I want to get a really good handle on this, and then build on sort of working out and stuff like that on top of that. I am aiming to sort of go to the gym at least 2 times a week, which I feel like is quite manageable. But this is my main focus right now. Being aware, keeping my sort of behaviour conscious in my mind, tracking. Tracking I feel like is very important, because I think I can, if I'm not tracking, I've noticed when I've been reflecting on sort of my behaviours or whatever in the past, I can very easily slip into being sort of totally naive of the situation. So yeah, I think tracking is very important regardless of what's going on and regardless of what I'm eating. So I'm going to try and do that daily. Really need to do something about the time frame in which my camera turns itself off, because I think it's set to turn off after a certain amount of time, and I clearly can't keep it within that time frame, so I need to do something about that. But yeah, what was I saying? My calorie goal is important to me, because I want to be within it in order to sort of like lose weight and stuff. But right now, like I said, my main focus is keeping that awareness alive, implementing these strategies, and then building on top of that. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here because clearly I've been talking too long. But yeah, please do let me know if you have got any ideas at how to sort of keep the awareness in mind, not slip back into old behaviours and patterns that we have learned over our entire lives. Let me know. And also, if you want to try any of these things out, you're more than welcome. If you want to adjust it and do it another way, go for it. But I'd love to sort of like hear your results or opinions. Did it work for you? Didn't it work for you? Because on Monday's video, I know, thank you so much for your lovely comments and kind words about how you are happy to see me back filming. Really, really kind and lovely of you as always. But I definitely noticed a couple of people mention how they are going through a similar kind of thing and feel a similar kind of way. So if we are sort of like on the same page, then please do, if you want to give it a go, do it, because I feel like knowledge is power, and if we're doing it collectively, we might sort of like be able to come together and say, well, was this more helpful or this more helpful? Did this strategy work a bit better? And just have a bit of a focus group about it, and just have a really kind space where no one's judged, no one's made to feel like, you know, anything. It's just basically about us giving a bit of a trial and error to certain things and trying to figure it out together. And yeah, I believe that we will eventually get there. We will do it. So thank you so much for watching today's video. If you haven't subscribed already, I would really appreciate it if you did. And until next time, stay happy, healthy and well. Love you all. Bye bye.